At this point, I thought maybe it's time to get the new fender on and get it bolted up in the place where it should go. Should be pretty simple. So here is my donor fender, removed from the other car. Now, oddly enough, it didn't have the bracket right here, so I had to order this and get this off of eBay. This would be the fender bracket, or sometimes fender to bumper bracket, and so that'll have to go right on there. Not sure why the car didn't have it, but that's what we'll do with that one. Now, this little bracket should just pop in. There's a little clip right there. It just pops in there and then pops in there, and that's it. Now, in my car, there are actually some screws that go in here as well. There and there, some screws with a kind of a big washer around them. So I'm not sure if I need that. It's on pretty sturdy, but I'll look around and see what I have there. But that's what you're going to want this to look like, and that will help when attaching the bumper cover and maybe other items around here. But yeah, that's what you're supposed to have. This little plastic bracket right there. And that's what they're like. They look like your standard 10mm, although they do have the Phillips screwdriver cuts in them as well, with kind of a washer. So I don't have those anymore on the other side. Maybe they got ripped off and scattered out on the highway somewhere. So I'll see if I can dig up something like that. So I'm going to start by putting this brace on, and I've got our standard 10mm bolts here, and you see they're painted white. So anything here has to do with the these body panels will also have kind of that body color painted on there. And it looks like these actually have the washers in them. So I'm picking out my bolts. Again, I've got a collection of bolts from all the stuff I took off. I can't remember where everything went, so hopefully I can figure it out. But it looks like, based on what I see here, these have the washers. So I'm picking out the ones with the washers. So I'm just going to bolt up this brace right here, and that will give the fender something to bolt onto right there. And the bolts to attach it along here don't have washers. So, and right along there. So again, I'm just going to line this up and bolt it down. Hopefully it'll work. And I can see that this mount here got a little bit tweaked in my crash, and I've tried to kind of put it back where it should be. Same thing with that one. And so obviously this is going to kind of make a difference as to how this works. But the main thing I'm trying to get here is to have this horizontal on the top. So it's kind of nice and flat there, and nice and kind of vertical right along there, along this side. So still attached right here just by some little welds, and it's still nice and sturdy. So hopefully that will work for me here. Now, lining this up is kind of tricky, and I've scraped the front of the door here a bit, so we need a lot of touch-up paint to fix that up. But I need to open the door a little bit because there's a mounting point right here. So I think I might start with that and bolt this onto the body right there, and kind of work my way from that. Now, for the fender, it seems like with my project here that I always have problems pop up that require a bit of a solution, and on to the next problem. One problem I had when I was putting a bolt in here was that it was going in, it felt a little weird, heard a little something, so I decided to back it out. I did that. Then I put it back in, and eventually what happened here was, I guess was a captured nut right in there, because it's a standard 10mm bolt, and this is not a 10mm hole here, but that had broken off, and so eventually I had to cut off that bolt, and now I've got to find some other way to attach the fender on here. But another problem as I was kind of putting it all together was that it's not quite matching up on the top with the hood closed. So I'm trying to see what I can do to fix these parts here, and of course they need to be more accurate, down to where they should be, because this is going to hold the fender in place along the hood. Now, I'm not sure how perfect I'm going to be able to get this, but I do need to see if I can kind of bend and bang these down more to where they were before the crash. So what I'm going to do is measure over here. There's one of those same mounting points. Maybe you see the height that it is from the main body of the car, and try and see if I can match that somehow. So I've measured on the other side, and it should be 1.5 inches right to the top here. So I'm going to see what I can do to kind of bend that down and get that close. I've done a lot of bending and prying on this as it is now, and it's not great, but it's getting there. Just got to see how close I can make this happen. The strange thing is I really don't know how good this is, how accurate this is, until the fender's on, which is got, it's bolted in a bunch of places, and then I close down the hood, and then I can kind of see. There's not a whole lot of adjustment I can do with the hood. I've already done some adjustment here on these bolts so that it will fit better, and I'm not sure if it needs to be adjusted here on the hinge, but of course this is my main issue right now. And these are really thin parts, easily bent out of place, maybe easily bent back into place, so we'll see. Sheet metal is easily moved around, but I don't do this too much so that I break the welds or break it here somewhere and cause myself additional problems. So I was able to bend it right through here with a screwdriver. Just kind of pivot it, put it down there. I've banged on it right here to kind of get this area flat in. We'll see where it's supposed to have kind of a 90-degree angle. So I've gotten this better. This part is not so good. It's bent up here. I'm not really sure the best way to kind of bend that angle back in without really harming the metal. So anyway, just kind of bit by bit, I'm trying to get this better to where it should be. And this one looks pretty good, but it might need something also. Now, getting the fender back on, even for a trial fit, is a bit tricky. You've got to stick this part down here in this kind of bottom side cladding. And I decided to put some painter's tape right here against the door, because when I was doing it before, this edge right along here likes to scratch this up. So I've got a lot of scratching along on this very edge here that I've got to put touch-up paint on. So my suggestion is to protect this side of the door, see the paint all down there, with some tape while you're trying to put the fender on, because you got to keep it open, especially to get these areas in here. So you've got to fit it down inside here, and then kind of make it work with the mounting points. You got 3 of them along here on the top of the car. So I've done my bending and banging and pushing. So now I'll kind of try and see how this lines up with things here. And yeah, this is just trial and error. I'm not sure any better way to do this. And this is what I have at the moment. You can see there's this big gap here. And I don't know how much I can move the hood over. Now on the other side of things, the hood is looking good. Yeah, I can see this really needs to kind of push in a bit more somehow. But that's the thing I'm fighting, is this gap right here when the hood's down. So I've been working on this, just trying to kind of push and push and push with these brackets here. Close the hood, see how it lines up, push and bend and all that. And got it better than it was before. I mean, it's pretty even now. I feel like it should be better than this, and this part of the fender here is a little higher than the hood. I'm not sure what's happening there. But that doesn't look half bad, or at least it looks a lot better than it was. And so I've just been going along here and tightening these 2 bolts here and here bit by bit as I kind of push and tighten, and get those sort of where they should be. That one up there was a tough one to get in. I was able to sort of align the one at the bottom here and the one that's up here near the top of the hinge, but trying to get this one in the middle to match was kind of tricky. But again, just push and bang and push, and so that's kind of what's happening now. So I'm going to have to look for a larger screw or something for that area. I'm going to leave that for now, and then just finish this up by putting in those 2 bolts that hold down the fender right there at the bottom. 2 10mm bolts, just like all the rest. They're kind of tough to reach, but you can get them and put them in there, and that bolted down nice and tight at the bottom. And then that'll be it for a while until I can figure out another solution. And there's this little kind of mounting clip right there that goes into this hole right there in the fender, kind of like the way that the interior panels mount on. So you just gotta get that, push that in. And we've got places that the fender liner will go on. And then also underneath, you've got kind of your standard body molding clip that will go in. And now I'm going to try my solution for this problem. So there's the hole right there, and I've got this tapping metal screw. I think it's about a 1/4 inch there. Looks like it's 1 inch long, and it's a hex head, which I really want so I can grab onto it with a socket. This is a 3/8 inch socket right here. So these things are probably going to be standard, not metric. So now my plan here is to see, can I put this in, tighten it up, and even though there are no threads, no captured nut in there, will these coarse threads right here grab the edge of that metal hole and hold it in there? So that's my thought here, and you can see I've got a lock washer on it as well. And now we should all know that doesn't work. This is, I'm pretty sure, a 1/4 inch shaft here. I bought some of these today, which is a 1/4 inch shaft, 3/4 inch length. This appears to be the same thing, just maybe 1 inch length. It'll sort of screw in, but it's not enough to actually bite and hold in. So this, I think, is the idea, the kind of thing I need, but this is just not big enough. So I'm going to have to find some other type of screw or bolt that's even bigger here to try and put in that hole. So the search continues. And this is what I had to end up doing here with the with this attachment for the fender. I guess you can't quite see it here, but there is an expandable nut. Had some help with a friend. We put an expandable nut, the hole to be drilled out just a little bit. Expandable nut goes in, expands out with threads, and this is a bolt that's put in there. That bolt can be taken out. Maybe this washer is a little bit too large, so I can just pop out this or unscrew this bolt and redo this washer. But that's it. It's being held in there. Not the prettiest of solutions, but it does the job, and this is about as good as I think I'm going to get right here with the fender. Now it's time to get this wheel well liner in, and starting it's a little tricky. It goes right under this plastic piece, this sort of plastic side skirt here. This part comes out here. You can kind of see the sort of the dirt mark for it, but this piece here goes underneath the fender. So it kind of goes inside, outside, inside. Start right here, and then there are the screws that put that in. That's how I'm getting this started, is right in here like this, and make sure this inside little lip right there goes underneath or inside the fender. So here are these 3 screws in. I just kind of did them a little bit until I got them all in there. So there's one of the new mounting point, there's one of the existing mounting point, and here's one here that just holds the wheel well cover into the fender. And then we start looking up here, and there's the first kind of mounting point right there where the wheel well will attach to the fender. And they're going to feel around here inside, so there may also be a hole inside to put a little panel clip in. And underneath here, there's a mounting point, a little hole for those push clips to go right in there. So let's get one and push that in to hold it from the bottom. See? Right in there. You really have to crank the wheel all the way to the right and then look inside here, and we'll see there's a bit right here on this inner liner. There's a hole right around there, so I'm going to have to try and push this up and squeeze it in there, but there's one actually for it to go into right there. There are other holes in the liner that you might see like that, but there's really nothing for them to go into that I can find. There's no hole there, but there definitely is one right there.